I think the most interesting thing in the first episode of Better Call Saul Season 4 was by far Jimmy's reaction. And it was pretty numb throughout the entire episode. There wasn't a big reaction. Now, in order to understand Jimmy's reaction, I definitely think we have to look at what happened in the season finale of Season 3. When Chuck told Jimmy, one, Jimmy, you need to accept that you hurt everybody around you. And he also told him, you never really mattered that much to me. This was a devastating moment for Jimmy. Everything Jimmy did in Season 1, 2, and 3, truly, everything he did was to impress Chuck. Chuck was like a parental figure to Jimmy. And they even show us this. Jimmy finds the book Mabel on Chuck's bookshelf in Season 3, and he says, oh, I remember when Mom used to read this to me. And Chuck says, no, it was me that read that to you. Parental figures have a huge effect on us. Whether we love that parental figure, dislike that parental figure, it really doesn't matter how we feel about them. How they feel about us affects us. And the fact that Chuck was a parental figure to Jimmy and told him that he never really meant that much to him, I can't think of many more devastating things for a person to hear. Jimmy was basically told, you just don't matter. Your presence in this world is meaningless. And so I think when we saw Jimmy's reaction, I think we were seeing a little relief in Jimmy. I mean, all he did was try to impress Chuck, try to win Chuck's approval. And no matter what he did, he wasn't going to be able to do it. And then to find out that not only are you never actually going to win this person's approval, but he doesn't really think anything of you. You're actually meaningless to him. It just leaves you with nowhere to go. What do you do with that? You just have to accept that you're meaningless. I truly believe that Chuck's death was quite a relief to Jimmy. Jimmy doesn't have to worry about this person that he wants to impress but can't. He no longer has to feel like a huge letdown. I definitely think we saw a huge piece of relief. But we also saw something else. It wasn't just relief in Jimmy. Jimmy was very torn throughout much of the episode, and I think this is why he was so silent. I don't think he knew what to do. Okay, so he had this relief part that he just doesn't have to deal with Chuck's disapproval anymore. But there was also, Jimmy feels guilty about hurting other people. He does hurt other people, but he's not immune to it. He feels guilty. This is part of what Chuck talked to him about. He said, why do you bother feeling guilty? Just accept who you are. There was guilt in Jimmy that perhaps his actions led to the death of Chuck. I mean, not only did Jimmy change the numbers that set all these events off to start, but Jimmy also made a fool of Chuck in the hearing. And he also, let's not forget, Jimmy is the one who caused Chuck to lose his malpractice insurance. Jimmy's the one that planted that seed. Jimmy did a lot to bring Chuck to this point of committing suicide. There definitely was guilt inside him, and so it was relief and guilt, and he just didn't know which way to go inside himself. He didn't know, how do I feel about Chuck's death? Do I feel guilty? Or do I allow myself to feel relieved that this person who would never let me get up in life is gone and I don't have to face this person anymore? In the end, when Howard shares his feelings that he is responsible for Chuck's death, this is what gives Jimmy the freedom to leave his guilt behind. As soon as Howard said, I'm the one who caused this because I pushed the insurance, in Jimmy's mind it was, that's your cross to bear, Howard, not mine. And there's a complete mood shift in Jimmy after this happens. He hops off the couch, he goes to feed the fish, smiling at the fish as he's feeding him. And remember, this is the fish that he bought so that he could hire Hugo to set Chuck up in court. So, the fish is directly related to destroying Chuck. And Jimmy is feeding the fish with a smile on his face and then whistling while he makes coffee. And so Jimmy, being able to just hand his guilt over to Howard, let Howard take all the responsibility for Chuck's demise, he's just left with the relief. Jimmy's happy that Chuck is gone. He's going to be able to be more of himself. He's going to feel better about himself. He's not going to be constantly told you actually don't really mean that much or matter that much. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like. If you want to be sure you're alerted every time we upload a video, go ahead, subscribe, ding the bell, and you will be alerted every time we upload a video. If you know anybody else who watches Better Call Saul and would find this video interesting, please go ahead and share it with them. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.